So good morning, good afternoon. Thank you everyone for joining us for day 5 of the Fanshawe Care series. Thank you for sticking around and coming back every day. Today we're going to be talking to Frank from our career services area. He's going to help you with some tips and tricks for job searching, resume stuff, and some of the services that they offer that you'll definitely want to make use of while you're here. And then we will have one of our student life and immigration advisors here with us to just talk about making sure that we're respecting the rules around our study permit and working. So Frank, I made you co-host and you are free to share your screen.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay. So let me get my happy little screen up. There we go. That looks right. Everybody can see? Perfect. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through the services that are available through career services at Fanshawe. And then I'm going to just let myself be open to taking some questions about maybe some Canadian workplace questions, maybe some kind of general type questions. A lot of what you're looking for is available for you online through on-demand workshops, but I'm here to help however I can. So to begin with, my name is Frank Stevens. I am a career services consultant with Fanshawe College. What that means is that I have a few dedicated programs that I take care of. Just like every program at Fanshawe has a consultant who stays up to date on different industry trends, has some different contacts, connections, and basically is available to you to assist with whatever job search needs you have. That is what we do down at Career Services. We help students become job search ready and workplace ready through workshops. We have them occasionally live, occasionally virtual, but all of them are now available on demand. Our team is right now working on a big new series of some more kind of niche topics about the Canadian workplace, about some different special topics like neurodivergence in the workplace, some different topics around networking, some different stuff about online job searching, very cool stuff coming very soon. We're always available for one-to-one phone calls and virtual appointments. We also can do in-person appointments. Once you get to know your career services consultant, that is your resource for the whole time you're at Fanshawe and after graduation as well. We have a job board that we host. It is employers specifically looking for Fanshawe students and graduates. You can filter the results to just show you part-time, just show you full-time, just show you summer, just show you by your program. But if you come to London and you try to find some jobs just on Google, you're going to be looking with everyone with an internet connection. So that's going to be thousands of people. But with the Fanshawe job board, you just cut down the applicant pool significantly. So it's a wonderful resource. Throughout the year, we host different events. So we have the Career Opportunities Fair in March and September. So that is an event where we have some employers. We usually have around about 150 employers come. They get to meet and mingle and get to know our Fanshawe students. We have the Ignite Career Conference in November. So that is a little ways away, but it's a really exciting time to meet some different kind of entrepreneurial voices, some different people who have kind of come from other places and made a success story here. Throughout the year, we also host employer information sessions and industry nights. So that means that a consultant like myself is going to host a session where real life employers are going to come and answer your questions about working in the industry. We also offer career exploration. So career exploration, maybe you don't know what you want to be when you grow up. Maybe you get a little bit into your program and you think, I don't want any of the jobs that are available after this, and I need to know more about myself and what I would like to do. And a consultant can sit down with you and work through that with you. We offer a couple different programs like Inspire Mentoring and Rising Leaders. I'm going to really recommend Inspire Mentoring for you guys. Ashley and Larissa are the people that host it, but Ashley and Larissa will be able to connect you with somebody who has been exactly where you are. So that's going to be a peer mentor that maybe started last year, maybe they're almost done and they're graduated, graduating. And they'll connect with you and kind of walk you through the same steps that they took to get where they are now. So that's definitely a resource I'd strongly encourage you guys to use. We have programs like Rising Leaders. So if maybe management, leadership roles are on your horizon, something that you're interested in. It's a program that will give you the skills that you need to succeed in the leadership world. And finally, we have a resource called the Career Closet, and I'll tell you a bit more about that on the next slide. I will warn you, this video is kind of hokey, but it shows off kind of a resource available for you. So it is all donated professional clothing from staff, faculty, and administrators at Fanshawe College. You can come and you can borrow the clothing for free. If you have a job interview, if you have a presentation, if you're starting a new job and you don't have a bunch of professional clothing readily available for you, you can come and borrow them for free. All you have to do is let the front desk at Career Services know how long you expect to have them. They are dry cleaned upon return and donation. And if students don't return them, we have a huge backstock, so it is okay. But we just encourage you that when you're available to do so, bring them back. We actually just had a student who borrowed a suit for an interview, got the job, and then actually returned it and then bought another suit with his first paycheck as a thank you for the resource. So I'll let you take a look at that. I cannot play the media, it says. Okay, that's a relief. It's a very hokey video, but it just shows you all the different options that are available for you in the Career Closet. So here are the different webinars that we have available on demand. Crystal, do they have FOL access yet or not yet? Who knows? Once you have FOL access, it's really easy to find on the resource menu. And these are all posted and available for you to watch anytime, anywhere that you want to. We have the resume workshop, so that's going to answer all your questions about Canadian resumes. Another one about cover letters and references, same thing, going to answer all your questions there. There's a networking workshop, 10 steps to my next job. I think this is a really important resource to check out quick as you can. This is going to be a literal step by step of how to get going in your job search. There is also a LinkedIn workshop. We also host a LinkedIn learning workshop if that's ever something that you need. Interview prep. We also have resources if you need some help preparing for an interview. I'll even sit down and do a pretend interview with you to get kind of those interview jitters out and get some feedback on what your answers are like. We've got some stuff about AI and applicant tracking systems. There's a lot more to online applications than you might know. And finally, we have some guides on part-time employment. And like I said earlier, we're doing a whole new workshop series, so there should be about eight or nine more workshops added, probably by September. So just keep your eyes on that and see what else is coming up. So these are instructions on how to get a hold of that job site that I mentioned. That's just for employers looking for Fanshawe students and grads. This is what the Fanshawe online resource menu. You click that, career co-op CCR is what you'll click. And then you'll see this overview that you see on my screen. And if you click on job postings, it will show you those jobs that are available for employers that are looking forward to hearing from people just like you. So how do you access career services once you're here? So we are in room D1063. That's pretty meaningless to you at the moment, but we are available virtually as well because we have a hybrid model. As you can see, I'm at home right now, but I'm still working away. So you can access us through the live chat link that you see there on your screen now. And if you're looking for the career consultant for your program, maybe you want to get in touch with them now so you can sort of lay the groundwork before you get here. And that link is on your screen right now. There's also, when you're just on the Fanshawe site under contacts, there's also the career services contacts there. So with that being said, I'm sure there's lots of things that I could answer if maybe we want to put out some questions. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure. Could I share those links? Sure. Give me just one moment and I will put them right here in the chat for you. Not a problem. But this is taking longer than I wanted to. Okay, so if you are looking for the contacts right here. This is probably the best place to start. So these are, it's just a straight up list of the people who are in charge of your program. So I am the consultant for the School of Community Studies, Language and Liberal Arts, and there's a third school that I'm taking on shortly. Preparing for job search before study or after study. I would honestly say that that's kind of going to be part of kind of going to have to happen at the same time. Preparing for your job search, obviously your school's going to come first. That's why you're coming to Fanshawe, is for your education. But career services is there as part of your education. So any of the things that you want to learn about job searching, job readiness, the labor market, anything like that, just incorporate that into the student life that you're living, because we're happy to help in however way we can. Kind of separating them is going to make both more stressful. If you just incorporate that job readiness as part of your education, I think you're going to be more successful that way.
And we will also be sending out a copy of this recording as well to everybody that attended today. So then you'll actually have access to go back and review any of the slides.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any other career related questions that anybody had?
My
An
email?
email address.
I am happy to provide that. One moment. So I am fstevens@fanshawec.ca. And if I'm not the person that you need, I'll find the person that you do need. And then if you have a more general kind of career services inquiry, we are at career@fanshawec.ca. So those are kind of your two. One is me and one is everybody else. No problem.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Frank, and thank you
No
for providing
problem.
all this information.
Of course. And you know where to find me now.
Yes, right. So hopefully the students will take advantage of that and really make
Wonderful.
use of the services. So thank you for joining us.
No problem. You guys have a wonderful day.
Take care. Okay, and so today we do have with us from our Student Life and Immigration Advising team, we have Fabi Anna Jose, and she's here. She's going to talk to us about making sure that we are respecting the rules and such of our study permit while working, while attending classes, all of that. Hi, Fabi. There you go.
Hello, everyone. My name is Fabi. I'm one of the Student Life Coordinator and Immigration Advisors at Fanshawe. So before we begin, let me share my screen. No. I hope everyone can see this. Crystal, can you see it?
It can. It just says you started sharing a screen, but I don't see this. There we go. Now it's there. We got it.
Okay. All right. So before we begin, I just want to welcome all of you to Fanshawe College and want to introduce a little bit about International Student Life Coordinator and Immigration Advisors. So we are a team of 6 advisors at Fanshawe International. We basically advise you on program selection. So for example, if you are someone who is coming with 1-year program and is looking to do another second-year program, and if you don't know who to approach, it would be us. And then if you want to change the program after coming here to Canada, we can help you with that process as well. And we can also advise you on how that is going to impact your study permit once you are in Canada. Any questions related to immigration, such as study permit, extensions, how the program progression is going to impact your status, like if in case you fail, whether you can take a break between your program. What if your study permit expires, whether you can study or work in Canada, how to apply for postgraduate work permit, temporary resident visa. All those questions are our main expertise. We can also help you do social networking. We can direct you to the different college services and student supports who can help you with those. These are our basic responsibilities or duties at Fanshawe. You can always reach out to us virtually or in person. So once you are in Canada, if you have any questions about your study permit program, I would recommend that you book an appointment or visit our international center to make sure that you have the right permits to start your program. So today we are going to talk about study permit, work permit, temporary visitor visa, and postgraduate work permit. I'm not going to go in detail about any of this because once you are in Canada and if you have any questions, you can always come and all these questions will be answered to you. And always this will depend upon case-to-case basis. So nothing is very general. So what I'm going to discuss or cover here is very general information about study permit, work permit, TRV, and postgraduate work permit. So what is a study permit? Study permit is a document that allows you to study in Canada, and it will be issued for a specific DLI, for a specific level and field of study. So whatever programs you are applying right now and based on what you have submitted your application, the study permit will be issued based upon that program. So if in case you come to Canada, and once you arrive in Canada, you decide to change the program, you will need a new study permit, even if you are studying at the same DLI. Study permit is not a travel document, so it does not let you travel to Canada. It's not a visa. When you are outside Canada, the first thing you might receive is a visa on your passport, or maybe you will have to apply for an ETA if you are coming from a visa exempt country. So you will be receiving your study permit once you arrive in Canada from the airport after doing your immigration. I would highly recommend that you check all the details on the study permit, like your name, your place, date of birth, your passport number, if there are any conditions that prevent you from working in Canada, or if the field and level of study is correct, if the DLI is correct on the study permit, whether you receive a COP work permit, if there is a COP component in your program. You can also check the expiry date of your study permit. It should be at least 90 days from the program completion date. If it's not long enough, you may request the IRCC officer who is immigration officer who is issuing the study permit to you, but they might not be able to change it. So in that case, you can always come to the International Center and we will help you with those kind of queries. So your study permit, if in case it's expiring before the completion of the program, we recommend that you apply for an extension or apply for another study permit while you're still in the program before the expiry of your study permit. So one of the common questions everyone asks is whether you can apply 5 or 6 months before the expiry of your study permit, or whether you can only apply 90 days. It always depends. So it depends upon what situation you are in, what is the conditions on your study permit, and why you are applying for a study permit. So, but we always recommend that you at least apply for an extension 30 days before the expiry so that you can have a maintained status and continue to study and work in Canada even after applying for your study permit. One thing if in case there's conditions on your study permit, for example, sometimes we see students who does not have conditions which says that they can work on or off campus in Canada. So in that case, you might not be able to get a SIN, or so then you will have to apply for change of conditions on your study permit. That is also another study permit application. You don't have to worry about any of those. We will always provide you with all the instructions that you need to do and how to follow those instructions. And we have a video tutorial as well. So you will be fine as long as you are seeking advice and assistance from the international advisors on time. How to apply for study permit? You can apply for study permit online using your GCK account. So if you already have done that from your country using a GCK, you can continue to use that. If you don't have access to GCK, if someone else applied for you, then you can always create a new one. It's not a problem at all. Can I continue to study if my study permit becomes expired? So if in case your study permit is expired and you applied for an extension like we discussed earlier, before the expiry of your study permit, then you are considered to be on implied status. So even if you do not receive an approval before the expiry of your study permit, you get to continue to study and work in Canada while your application is still being processed. If in case it's refused, or if you fail to apply for an extension before the expiry of your current study permit, then you are out of status in Canada. Then you must stop studying immediately because you do not meet the eligibility to study or work in Canada anymore. So if in case you find yourself in that situation, I would recommend you always come to the International Center, speak to an immigration advisors. In that case, we do not ask you for any appointment. So you always seek advice as soon as you know that you are in such situations. Working on or off campus. You may be eligible to work on or off campus without a separate work permit. So you will only have a study permit if you don't have a working component in your program. That study permit will have conditions which allow you to work on or off campus. On campus, you don't have any limitations to work, and off campus, you can work only 24 hours per week. But if those conditions are not listed on your study permit, you may not be able to work. Like I said earlier, you may have to apply for change of conditions in that case. In order to be eligible to work on or off campus, you must be registered as a full-time student in a post-secondary program. If you're not registered, if you're not studying, then you might not be able to work. You may get to work more than 24 hours or full-time between your programs. Like for example, if you're doing a 2-year program and if there's a scheduled break in that program, you can work more than 24 hours, like full-time hours during that break. If you finish one program and you're moving to another program after 4 months, if the gap between the programs is less than 150 days, then you can work full-time during that time also. You can only work full-time if you're finishing one program and moving to another, only if you have successfully finished your first program and if you have a valid offer for your next program and also a valid study permit. So if you come early to start your program in Canada, you might not be able to work. You can only start working once you have started program attending classes. So to work on or off campus, one of the important documents you will need a SIN. You may be able to get a SIN from the airport itself, or if you are not able to get it from there, you can visit the Service Canada with your study permit and they will issue a SIN number to you. SIN number is a very private document. Do not share that with anybody else unless required. Like for example, if you have a job and the employer is asking you, definitely you can give it to them and to the bank also. But if any stranger or a friend is asking you to give your SIN number, I would not really suggest that you give it to them. There's always some fraudulent cases that goes around, like identity theft and everything, because SIN is connected to everything in Canada. So it's very important. Always you have to keep it very safe. And it's like a number, like 9-digit number, I believe, that you will get. And that's where your bank, your working pay stubs and everything is connected to. So let's talk about COP work permit. So if you are in a program which has a working component such as COP, internship, externship, or placement or practicum, then you must have a COP work permit. So the COP work permit should be applied along with your study permit if you already know that there is a placement or a working component in your program. And when you arrive in Canada, along with your study permit, you will also receive a work permit. It does not really have to say COP work permit. It would only say work permit. But on the details, you will see COP mentioned, or as in the section for employer, it would mention Fanshawe College as an employer, or maybe sometimes open. The location would be London, or depending upon which campus you're going to, that location will be mentioned in the work permit. So if in case any other employers is listed on the employer section other than Fanshawe College or open, you must seek advice from the international advisors, because you might not have the right permit to do your placement. So as soon as you reach here in Canada, if you find any discrepancies on your permits, I recommend that you book an appointment or visit the international center. Our front desk will tell you what you have to do in order to get to speak to one of the immigration advisors. Next is temporary visitor visa, or TRV, or visitor visa to call it short. Anyone who is coming from outside Canada, especially from a visa required country, they will first receive a visa on the passport when they get an approval for your study permit. That visa is the travel document. You will use that to travel to Canada. If you're coming from a visa exempt country, then you might not need TRV. You will just need an ETA. TRV is an official counterfoil document issued by the visa office that is placed on your person's passport. So to enter Canada, both TRV and study permit must be valid, but not for your first time though. Like first time when you're coming, you will not have a study permit. You will only receive the study permit upon arrival. But if you ever want to go back after coming to Canada, then you must have both study permit and TRV valid. TRV does not give you any legal status in Canada. It's just a travel document. The legal status that gives you a status to stay, study, or work in Canada is your study permit or work permit. It can be expired. So even if the TRV expires, it's not a big issue, unless you don't need a valid TRV unless you have plans to travel outside Canada and then return. So in order, if you have such plans and if you have a TRV expire, then you can apply to renew the TRV with a valid study permit. If you don't have, then you don't worry about it at all. Okay, let's move on to postgraduate work permit. I'm really sure that you must be aware about a lot of changes that happened in the last few months. So just to cover, like the main eligibility requirement for postgraduate work permit is for you to complete a program that is at least 8 months of duration. You must also be continuously full-time throughout the program, but with an exception that you can be a part-time student at the end of the term with one extra term. So failing courses is not a problem as long as you still complete the program continuously as a full-time student, and you can get to take that pending courses or failed courses at the end of the program as a part-time. But if in case you become part-time during the program, or if you take a leave, which is not part of the program, then you might not become eligible to apply for PGWP. There are a few other requirements that came into place as of November. One is your language requirement. So after finishing your program, you also need to meet a language requirement CLB level 5 in English and NCLC 5 in French in all language areas to be eligible to apply for PGWP. And also, when you choose a program, your program should be aligned with the PGWP aligned list that is offered at Fanshawe in order to be eligible to apply for PGWP. If your program is not in the list, then you might not be eligible to apply for PGWP. If you have any questions related to that, once you arrive in Canada, you can always book an appointment and we can help you understand these details more further. And in order to apply for work permit, you must first complete the program, and you should apply within 90 days after completion of the program on a valid study permit to start working immediately after completion. The main the length of the PGWP is basically depends upon the length of your program. So if it's 8 months program, even if you get a 1-year certificate, if it's an 8 months program, you are eligible to apply for up to 1 year of postgraduate work permit. If it's a 2-year certificate program, depending upon the duration as well, you are eligible to apply up to 3 years of work permit. So those are the basic informations about study permit, core work permit, TRV, and postgraduate work permit. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. And if you have any questions now, I can answer few if you have any.
Is there any questions for Febby? Anything you're not sure about in relation to working and your study permit?
Or maybe not.
Looks like there's a question there. Are you saying we can't work while studying?
No, you can work, but I was saying that if you in case come here, like for example, if you're a January student and you show up in Canada like early December, until you start the classes in Jan, you cannot work. And also your study permit should have conditions which allows you to work. Only then you can get a SIN number. So if in case you have a condition, so even if you don't know that, like if you go to the Service Canada and request for a SIN, they will tell you that you don't have eligible to get SIN number or your study permit does not allow you to work. So in that case, you can come and talk to us and then we apply for change of conditions. But if everything else is okay, then once you start classes in Jan, then you can start working. And we must qualify to speak English and French. That was about PGWP. So when you apply for PGWP, you should have a language test result in order to apply for PGWP. It's like one of the additional requirement. Can I change course? What are the requirements? So that will depend. If you are trying to change the program right now, when you're outside Canada, I would recommend that you reach out to the person who has been helping you till now. We can only help you once you are in Canada. But when you are changing the program, even before you start, then it would be still the recruiters who will be helping you. But if you're changing the program after coming to Canada, we don't really recommend it because you need a new study permit to start. And there are chances for refusal in that cases as well. So it's a little bit of a risk. You can start your job search as soon as you come here in Canada. So if you have a job, you can start working like part-time when you're a student. And once you apply for PGWP, you can start working full-time. Scholarship and how it will be settled, I'm not really sure about those information, but you can get those information from our website. Do you know anything about it, Crystal?
So there is some scholarships, and those are usually you would receive those in your second term or second year based on recruiters and their recommendations. But yes, if you go to our website, you should be able to sort of view there as like an entrance type scholarship. And then also you can view if you qualify for any of the other scholarships posted. But there's not a lot that you can do right now because often it is just outside of your control. But take a look at the website. And then if you get here and you still have questions, you can always pop into our office and I'm sure they can guide you towards the correct person. Okay. And I see there is some more study permit type questions.
So there's another question from Juliet. Study permit is expiring on March 31st, 2027. Study will finish in December 2026. What visa will be next? So it depends upon your case. I'm not really sure. We will have to check your records to say, but your study permit is long enough to finish your program. If you successfully finish your program, then you should be eligible to apply for PGWP. But again, I would say come and speak to the international advisor. We will go through the records and see what's your situation and give you an appropriate advice based upon your case.
Was there any more questions for Feby or anything further you wanted to ask about working and studying? And then we also understand that you may not have the questions until you get here and until you're like looking for jobs and you're looking through the process and you're really doing it hands-on, and we'd be happy to help you once you arrive, and we can try to guide you with that as well. So if there's no more questions, then I will just say thank you so much to Feby for joining us today.
Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, everyone, and all the best.
Perfect. And thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining us for the week-long sessions. Hopefully you've gained a lot of knowledge from it. And we will send you out the recording of today's session as well. And it will also be posted on our Fanshawe International YouTube page. So thank you, everyone. We are so excited to welcome you here in just a few weeks. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, Professor.